Hi everybody, my name is RB Alverna. Welcome to the YouTube series, The Backpack.
At what point did you feel safe enough to let your guard down?
When I started therapy in January of this year. Therapist was like, you need to find a way to be able to speak and express how you really feel about certain things. And stop thinking that it's okay to just hold it in. Because I honestly thought all these years that the next successful thing is gonna cover it up. Right? So the next big thing I do is gonna cover it up. So I'll be all right? But nothing successful has been happening.
So Lewis, at what point did you feel safe enough to let your guard down?
Honestly, so I don't know if there's guards around me and that I just let all of them down, right? Mm-hmm. I feel there's a window that's down here, but then something is up here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a general thing for me, right? Yeah. With my wife, I've always had my guard down, and my friends and things like that. But there are some men who I still have my guards up, because I don't trust. And this is the work that I'm working through right now.
This is incredible that you keep coming back to this.
Yeah, I didn't trust that they would have my best interests at heart. Yeah. So I never felt safe enough to you know what I'm going through. But I've connected with certain brothers to be yo, this is what I'm going through. What are you going through? Let's build each other up, right? I call it a trust. But I had to preface it and create that environment. Yeah. It didn't come as authentic as my relationships with
I'm not doing it with just anybody, right? Yeah, I can do it with you. I can do it with you, and I can do it with you, right? And I built this nest around me with people in which I know I can do it with. Yeah. I ain't doing it with everybody. Yeah. And can't nobody expect me to do it either.
Yeah. I've been reflecting lately on the fact that like you, I have way more female friends than men, honestly. But I don't even know if I don't know if I want to take these types of things to men though.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
I don't think men are useful in this in the conversations that we're talking about. Some of it might be. Some of it might be. All right, you connect more with a woman than a man, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. Now, but I honestly genuinely think if I had a 50-50 split of female friends, I don't know how useful my male friends are for me to be yo, you know how I'm feeling this Friday night. I told one of my friends through text today, a moment of vulnerability. But again, in general, I don't know how useful we are for this type of stuff. We brag to each other. We joke with each other.
That's because that's how we've been.
We trade accolades.
Right. We gas each other. Conditioning, right? So if you could be conditioned to be this way, then you would definitely be conditioned to be.
We can be reconditioned, right?
Right.
So my take on this is kind of similar to yours, where I'm very selective, and my guard has come down, I think, over time. But I feel it kind of comes down a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more as time has progressed. I know for me, I grew up where I grew up, and you were not supposed to really show any signs of emotion, really. You're supposed to have your guard. You're supposed to have a stone cold face. You're not supposed to be laughing or smiling. No, that's just not what you do. And even today, I still have people kind of tell me, "Oh, you're always so serious."
Was that for protection?
Bro, I was about to say right now.
That was for protection.
No, it was for protection, it was life or death type of thing, or was it
life or death? But it's if you're a dude growing up in the hood and you're just a bubbly, big personality, you're not just a dude. Now you're a target, right? And people will pick on you for that kind of thing. So I know for me, it wasn't until...
But straight up, say what they're going to do. If that's the case, what they going to call you? They're going to call you a faggot.
Yep.
They're going to call you gay.
Yep.
Weak.
Weak. Yeah. Yo, you a fairy. Come on, man. This is the kind of crap in which we grew up in. Mm-hmm. That's why we didn't express ourselves the way we should have.
But right? On the flip side of that too, there is that protection piece, because now if you look intimidating, nobody's messing with you.
Yep.
Right? When you walk in home and you look somebody in the eye, look at them wrong, what do they look like what you looking at? Mm-hmm. Right? And now you got to defend yourself, and nobody wants to be in that situation. As much as there's violence in the community that I grew up in, nobody's out there looking for it, right? You're trying to avoid it and get home, right? So I remember when I went from that kind of a setting, that kind of an environment, to private high school that my parents shipped me off to in suburbia.
Shit me off too.
They sent me out, and it was probably a very great sacrifice that they made for me, and I really appreciate it. But I remember that first year, I wasn't comfortable, right? And people looking at you, and people are intimidated, people are scared. People treat you different just because of how unapproachable you are. And it took years and years and years for me to really figure out how to let my guard down even more in that respect. And now when you fast forward, right, into who am I communicating with and how am I communicating with people? Again, still, I have a lot of female friends that I can really communicate well with and let my guard down with. But it took me a while to really realize the impact that my own best friend, who is a male, had on me, and how I could actually let my guard down with him. So I would open up. But it took a very, very long time for me to reach that point. But there is safety there, and I think that we don't give men enough credit in that regard. Like you're saying, like, well, how can they actually help? They can, but we have to really be willing to take that chance and take that risk.
Well, I was about to say one thing that I'm actually really happy about, and some of what you just said gives me like the ammo for this is going back to what you were saying about like how people would just throw around slurs when we were younger, right? I think in a way, one thing that has helped is time right now. Because I'll tell you the truth, sometimes I'm in a group chat with guys that I know from high school.
Yeah.
And the way that they talk about letting people be who they are is like, it's kind of pathetic that we're like, oh my God, that's progress or something like that. But I'm just looking at it like, yo, I'm happy that y'all talk this way right now. So that's to say that
there is safety there.
It's getting more commonplace for people to talk about like, yo, this is the way I am. Like in music, people talk about their feelings more. In music, people talk about like the idea of like what manliness is. Like there's a lot of the most popular artists that kind of challenge the notion of like the one idea of toughness or the one idea of what a cool male is supposed to be. There is less and less stigmas against people who have different sexualities or different like lifestyles. Like with time, it's just the idea that like the man is just like I felt as though there was a very narrow perception of what a man is supposed to be, a tough man is supposed to be when we were growing up. Now, I'm not saying we live in some utopia, like by any means, but I think that it is better. It can still be bad, but better. And I'm not even saying this.
Just imagine how I would have had to have dealt with this, my issues, my depression, anxiety, right? I get married, right, and I'm on a high because it's like I made it. I got the good girl, right? But if I came out of nowhere and I was like, yo, if this is 2015 and I say, listen, I'm having some issues. I'm experiencing some moments where I don't feel like being around, stuff like that. How do you think people would have been looking at me? Straight up, guys. Like, how do you think people have been looking at me?
You know what?
That's tough.
You know what though? I'm gonna challenge that a little bit.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I'm not completely sure. I would like to think that people are getting more used to the fact that life is hard because life is hard. Like, we have relatively good lives. Let's say we have relatively good lives compared to what we know. Compared to what we know about what our parents came from. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Like, we always gonna be unhappy at some point or unfulfilled because life is hard. We have complex feelings. Our feelings and emotions are fragile.
Yeah,
like it's very easy.
Though.
It's very easy for somebody to make you feel, or something to make you feel like, damn, why don't I got that? Why don't I have this? Why isn't somebody like the people that I think that have like what I want to have? They probably looking at me being like, yo, why don't I have that? Like my life would be so much better if I. And I think so. Would you have looked crazy, maybe?
No. But
so
this is the deal.
I don't know.
That's fine. It's when the unhappiness is consistent, bro. Like my unhappiness was almost every single week.
Yeah.
It was fluctuating. It was like 1 week I'd be like, all right, I'm good. Next week I'd be like, oh, this is like, here we go.
Yeah,
But listen, it's your perception. It's your perception of how other people would have seen you, and it probably wasn't in reality, right? But perception is reality for all of us, right? And so you still had to find somebody that you trusted. In that very moment, you didn't need to tell the world, but the very things that you're doing now would have been the same things that you would have done in 2015.
I will say we've learned now that trying to be perfect ain't it. Trying to be perfect ain't it. And I will say you had a very pristine image. I will say that.
Now, what did I say to you when you told me about whatever it is that you were going through, right? I was like, yo, I didn't understand that. I didn't know what exactly it was, but I knew that it was something.
So when I had a conversation with Lewis via text message, Lewis was like, I knew something was up, I just didn't know what it was.
Right? With all the persona, all of that.
Yeah,
you know
but then, but the thing was, Lewis would have been a perfect person to speak to if I would have allowed myself to be vulnerable.
And I think that's where that selection comes into play, because you were talking like there's certain people, and you've mentioned the same thing. There's certain people now you can speak with, and I think again you can't just shout it from the rooftops because there's people out there that just won't receive it. We look at what LeBron, right, with him at the basketball game just being a father, and he gets ridiculed, right? Because there's people out there that are always going to have some sort of an opinion. Chance the Rapper just dropped an album, and he's getting ridiculed. He's talking about his wife on his album because he's praising his wife,
And also,
right?
and also.
But people are always going to have an opinion. But now when you are using some level of discernment and really like finding that one person that you can trust, now you do have a safe space. Now you do have a safe moment where vulnerability isn't as dangerous as we've been conditioned to believe it to be.